Hello, everybody. This is a little video for anyone who's kind of interested a bit in what busing is all about visually, particularly with Logic. That's what I use, and I am by no means the greatest or even close to producer or mixer. But I do use Logic, and I can show you a few different ways of using buses and how it's actually useful and helpful for many different things. And I would encourage actually any other producers here that do this in different DAWs to share stuff like this with each other, because I think you can all help each other learn. I know when I was taking the course a while back, and even just being involved with the last cohorts and this one, it's always great just hanging around people like John and Sam and Steve and Nick and Chris, who are just fantastic producers. So there's always ways of learning new tricks and seeing how everybody does different things. So I thought I would show you a little bit about how I've just got into busing, and but I haven't actually really known how to do it that long. So I thought maybe that would be helpful for you to see. So I'll show you my screen here. Just gonna move the settings over a bit. There we go. Okay. So I just did a funny little track here for the purposes of this that has a whole bunch of, and I color coded them so you could see them a little bit more. If you want an easy way for this is Logic for those of you who maybe haven't seen it before, or just getting used to it. You can color code stuff just by pressing the Option button and C, the letter C, and it'll pop it up, and you can choose your colors to do that if you like that. Anyway, here is what you can do is, like, you can see when you're talking about stems, like these are all individual tracks for different parts. Like the yellows here, I've got shaker, conga, jingle bells, and this little funny little cymbal thing that I had, all just as percussion. The guitar is in red, and all the different voice in here is this color here. So what I'm going to show you, first of all, is just like how you can group these things. And we'll look at kind of two different ways of like how you can use buses. So say, for example, for grouping tracks together in a buses, you can do a really cool thing in Logic that's called a sum track. So first, yeah. So what you can do by doing that is you can automatically just collect a group of tracks by just like highlighting over here, doing this. And if I right click over in this neighborhood, you can actually see all these different options that pop up. And one of them that I use a lot, and this is a lot of fun, is this thing called Create Track Stack. Okay. So if I do that, it'll ask me these two things to make a folder track or a summing track. And I'm going to go summing track. So it just basically adds them all into one spout that you can control. There you go. So as you see this thing here, it says sum, and it's got a little drop down menu now with this little like lemon squeezy thing. You can title this. I'm going to make that here. I'm going to change this badass percussion. There we go. So now that becomes this itself is a bus. This is something that we can actually, it's another track that you can control all of these things from as a global kind of overseer. You'll see if I close this little, or I click on that, it just makes it one track now. So this now is like one stem. So the conversation in office hours that came up about sending stems is like, you can just really just send that whole group like that, and it makes it super clean. But if you want to edit and work with them individually, then you can open it up and you can change all the different things. Like you can add EQs or compression or effects, and I'll show you a little bit more with that of like the other buses. But if we want to go over here, do the same thing. These are two guitar tracks. I'll just I'll if I hit this button here, I can solo and just let you hear the percussion that's working. So you get a sense of that. There we go. So if I got these, this is just like some guitar whipped up. There you go. Not the smoothest thing in the world, but works for the purposes for the time being. Same thing here. So if I want to, I've highlighted those. Go highlight those two. It selects this both. I'm going to go down to create track stack. Boom. Bam. All right. I'm going to call those messy guitars because they're kind of messy. Again, we've got the little lemon. And we can close that up, make it nice and visual. So you can see now, like we've got boom, boom, those two stacked together, which is cool. And we'll do the same thing with the vocal stuff here. So I have like a lead vocal, and then I started just throwing down some harmonies, and I did this fun little vocal bass thing that you'll hear. I'll just let you hear it.
I am a bus. Look at me bussing. I am a bus. Oh yeah. I am a bus. Look at me bussing. I am a bus. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and again, it didn't take too much time, so I know some of them are a little whack, but it was lots of fun. I am a bus. This is just for you guys. Okay, so we're gonna like make those some track as well. And you can see here, actually, it's different. You have to like take it over to this area. If I right click on this side of it, it gives me different options. And I'm sure there's probably somewhere in here where you can do the same thing. But if I just right click over here, whole different menu. So where you're right clicking makes a difference. Okay, so same thing, gonna create the stack. Boom. Now we've got, I'm on a mother effing, maybe just for a small g for fun, bus. There you go. That's what that one's going to be called. So we can lock all of these puppies down in a very concise format. So you can see all that stuff looks super busy, and then boom, there's the stems. You have vocal stems, you've got guitar stems and percussion stems. So that's how that works. And you can bounce these down, which bounce in Logic is down here. You can hit that kind of thing if you want to bounce down the whole track, or any individual track, you just mute certain ones that you don't want. It's great ways of being able to do it. So, but that's a whole other thing. But I wanted to show you there's another area where you can see this is if we look at the mixer. So you can do this a couple of ways. You can either go show the mixer there. This gives you lots of awesome tools to be able to work with like every level visually differently. Quick commands are always awesome. If you just press the letter X, boom, 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 boom. There you go. You get that puppy on and off. But you can see those little drop-down menus here unfold. So this little symbol here is the symbol for a bus. So if you condense these here, it just really groups them into these 3 tracks, which is super cool. But if you want to work with other tracks, which I'll show you a little bit now for the purpose of effects bus, I'll show you that just so you have something to play with. But that's how you can group things and package them in a nice way. And the cool thing is if we look at this, if I just solo this one master track of the percussion, if I pull the volume down on that, you can see even though that the other ones are going, this master thing, or it's not a master, but it's like kind of the controller of that. That's how you can control the volume of the group. So if you decide to move sounds around with the panning, which we'll do shortly here, just to brief for an example, then you can kind of set it up so it's like its own ambiance, but ultimately the whole ambiance is controlled here, which is amazing. Anyway, well, let's just do this here first of all. What if we pan some things here? We've got shaker and conga and jingle. This stuff's pretty nice. So I'll maybe move it around a little bit, but not too much. Here, let's just do see what happens if we move stuff around. If you're, yeah, maybe keep that one straight up. Maybe put the little symbol off to the side here. Hear that symbol again. The jingle bells over there. I like the shaker central. There we go. Yeah, well, why don't we just do that for now? We're gonna like hard pan stuff. All right. Bing. So you can hear that. If you got headphones on, you'll hear this a little bit more. Guitars, just because this was done as like a left-right channel, I just I recorded the guitar twice. That's why the sound waves are a little different. Then you just kind of like split it left and right. So that sounds awesome. So if I just do these two together. It's a different sound than if you have this together. This isn't the greatest. It's nice to kind of thicken it up. Go, and you got these little things, little enlightening bits coming from my right side right now. So if we go into the vocals, this is where it gets really fun too, where you see just the panning side of it. I know this is getting away from the bus thing, but I'll just do this really quickly just to show you. This is kind of my main central one. I'm just going to move these other ones around. I didn't really think about it too much in terms of where they are. This is the bass one, so I might keep that one in the middle. But here we go. Let's see.
I am a bus. Look at me bussing. I am a bus. Oh yeah.
I don't really like that bass in there. I'll put it on there. I'll cut it out a little bit until it gets to that part.
I am a bus. Look at me bussing. I am a bus. Oh yeah. I am a bus. Look at me bussing. I am a bus. Oh yeah.
I might just use, just for fun, I'm just going to take out, I just like that middle section. So I'll just take that out and leave the ending part. Anyway, we just moved the vocals around in there. So this is something that's cool too. We can highlight these different ones if I want to make certain ones more balanced in volume.
I am a bus. Look at me bussing. I am a bus. Oh yeah. I am a bus. Look at me bussing. I am a bus. Oh yeah.
So those high ones at the end, they've got a lot of power in terms of like they'll cut through. So you can keep those a little bit lower and bring these other ones up a little higher.
I am a bus. Look at me bussing. I am a bus. Oh yeah. I am a bus. Look at me bussing. I am a bus. Oh yeah.
Anyway, so you've got that kind of, you can blend, and that's the thing is like you're blending individually, but then you can control the whole entire unit.
I am a bus. Look at me bussing.
With that, you know, so that's a really cool thing of like how buses work to group things. So the neat thing here I'll show you about the other stuff now is like, say we kind of take care of that. I'm not even going to touch EQ or any of that kind of thing right now, but just for using these as an exercise. Say if now this is like one track, this one I can treat here is going to treat both of these equally. So I wanted to show you, this is how you can use bus for an effect. So if you see this little thing here that says send, if I bring up the mixer, it'll say it on the side here. There's send, it's the same thing, same kind of idea. I can click on that and I can go bus and I can choose, see now, like it's saying like my first couple of buses, 1, 2, 3, because I named them are these ones. So if I want to put an effect on, I can do it on 4. So if I go like here, this might be easier to see. If I go, well here, if I go into send, watch what happens. If I go and click, I want to open up, I'm basically activating a bus number 4. But something just popped in there. It said, I'm bus number 4. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this a reverb. And I'm going to title it so I remember what it is. Because sometimes you get making these things and it gets a little bit out of control and you can forget. So say, for example, if I'm using this, I put that on my percussion channel here. I'm just going to close this up so you see up at the top. If I look at my percussion channel, that little bus window is open. And so if I click on the bus, it's going to take me to there. So this is where I get to now choose what I want to put on it. So you can put anything. But if I'm going to put a reverb on, Logic has the Space Designer, which is really cool. It took me actually a lot of years to realize that what actually was in here, but you can use a lot of these different things. And if you go up to the factory default, you can see all of these different kinds of spaces that you can play with. It's actually, there's a ridiculous amount of things. Say for example, like small spaces, if I want to go into a small room, then all of these things, like how many there are. There's so many different ones, which just fun to kind of choose one and go with it and see what happens. But you get to play with different styles. So for percussive kind of stuff, it's nice to kind of give it a bit of a roomy sound, or something that gives it a bit of character. So why don't we choose, we'll just pick a random one. Let's go realistic room. Novel idea. All right, so I don't even really have to touch anything. I can fool with this stuff, but I'm not going to, just for the sake of it right now. We're just gonna listen to the drums. So now that this is where this channel is living, if I bring up the mixer, you'll see like reverb is living over here on bus number 4. And now what I can do is there's this little spinny wheel thing, this little wheel here. So I can click on it and I can change this wheel to that basically cranks the level of what's happening with that reverb that I put on. So watch what happens if I do this with the percussion. You can hear a big difference, right? And I haven't done anything with these like congas. I could bring that, and the shaker's like quite loud. So if I bring that down, jingle's a little loud. There you go. Anyway, say if I wanted to have that as my whatever mix for now, if I want to kind of like give a little bit more atmosphere to it, then I just slowly bring this up as I'm listening. Actually, the other way it's been referred to me is a great thing, like seen like Chris and Sam and John talk about this sometimes a lot. It's like if you just kind of crank it past and then come back, you can kind of get a better sense of like what's too much and then ease it off. All kind of depends what's going on in the rest of your mix. So like, it's not the greatest thing to do in isolation, but at least you can hear it. You can get an idea of what's happening. So there's an example of like, that's one bus that we made a short reverb, like a small reverb type of thing. So say for the guitar, maybe we can actually, if we liked that reverb in some way, if you wanted to, you can also put it on, I'll get that off. Let's solo these two together. So we've got guitars. And again, I'm treating these as a group. Remember, there's like a couple of tracks in there that this is doing to all of them. So if I go in to my mixer, I'll press X. I'm gonna go to, here's the guitar channel. I'm gonna go send, I'm gonna go to 5. So I'm gonna put on I'm gonna make it a different reverb. So I'm gonna make it like a long reverb. Boom. All right. So now I can do this on this channel too, and you'll see it will affect on here. So it's this line here and this one are the same. As you can see, bus 5. All right, so say if I even go back into the reverb, I go in there and I choose a larger space. There's one I've been enjoying lately, is the dark piano hall is a fun one. So if I just focus on the guitars for a moment, and I can go back to that wheel and turn on some of that reverb. It's a little bit of a longer. So it's just a longer decay and a little bit, yeah, way different sound. So if I back it off. It's a different kind of thing. And like, what's kind of neat is you can make as many of these as you want. And so you can guide these groups of tracks. And just because like I've got percussion going to the number 4, And this, the guitar is number 5 going to this one, doesn't mean that you actually can't blend the two and actually do some cool things there. So like if I actually wanted to, you can actually drag this down, or actually I might have to turn it off. So here, watch this. If I decided I wanted a little bit of the room sound or whatever, you know, like that room reverb, I've got it going on 4, and I can actually give it a long one as well. So if we kind of put it in the room, so that makes it feel a certain way. And then if I give it a little bit of a longer one as well, just to kind of, this is where it gets like super creative and a lot of fun to blend sounds and to see what's going on, what you can make happen. And you can do really fun things with this. Is you can kind of treat the effects and do things to the effects themselves, which is fun to do. So let's go back here and let's see how it sounds together so far.
I am a bus. Look at me bussing. I am a bus. Oh yeah. I am a bus. Look at me bussing. I am a bus. Oh yeah.
You can hear a bit of that after effect of like the whoop. I was moving the jingles around because it was bothering me on the ear. But if I go to the vocal now, like you'll probably notice a lot more of this happening on the vocal. All right, so if we have this channel here, I'm gonna add some of these buses, maybe just to show you, like what if we have like the short reverb, and I'm gonna make maybe a different one. This is one I've been having a lot of fun with. Or like here, I'll put up a delay. There we go. Sample delay is kind of fun to play with because if you kind of tweak it a little bit, it shifts and kind of makes it feel like it's a little bit around you. Like here's a delay between left and right ear. What it actually does, and I just moved it a tiny bit to kind of shift the gears off a little bit. So actually I'm going to switch them up. I'm actually got the order makes a difference. So let's go here. Let's make it this number 6, which I know is that reverb there. And maybe I'll do the long one after it. So if you just hear the voice,
I am a bus.
Watch what happens when I crank this thing.
I am a bus. Look at me bussing. I am a bus. Oh yeah.
So what it does is it spreads it around in a neat way. Just one way you can do it. There's lots of different ways you can do it, but just showing you how you can play with effects this way. And now if I add some reverb to that too.
I am a bus. Look at me bussing. I am a bus. Oh yeah. I am a bus.
So that's kind of a neat way you can play with that. So if I hear them all together.
I am a bus. Look at me bussing. I am a bus. Oh yeah. I am a bus. Look at me bussing. I am a bus. Oh yeah.
So the thing with reverb and all this stuff is like it's going to make it feel further back. So there's kind of a pecking order here. You have these buses and things, and like this little spot here is if you want, say if I want the voice to pop up, you can add things there like the EQ. John was talking about a graphic EQ. There we are. Like a channel EQ is what it's called in Logic, is you get this cool thing that you can play with this stuff and really make some things pop. So watch what happens when I move some stuff around. I'm just actually kind of, when I'm sliding things, and again, this is for newbies, like if you're new to this is taking away the low end, like left to right is low to high. And you can see the numbers like 40K, or sorry, like 40 Hertz, 50 Hertz, all the way up to like 1000, 2K, like and beyond. Watch what happens when I take the low end out of the voice.
I am a bus. Look at me bussing. I am a bus. Oh yeah. I am a bus.
Anyways, there's certain stuff that you just don't need in here, and John talked about cleaning up the other tracks. So if like just even though like you can
I
see
am a bus.
the voices are operating in this kind of realm. So if I don't have anything in here, there's still room sound because I recorded my voice in a room. You can take that out because it just cleans things up so that the extra lower signal of a room might muddy something else up overall. So there's like a compounding effect that's good to look at. But if I raise one of these, you'll see a difference.
I am a bus. Look at me bussing. I am a bus. Oh yeah. I am a bus. Look at me bussing. I am a bus. Oh yeah. I am a bus. Look at me bussing. I am a.
So you can see you can change a lot of the texture of like how it fits in all the mix in general just by moving some of that stuff around. Anyway, that's the whole other thing. I just wanted to show you a little bit about what buses can do. The great thing about this is like I could just load up all these reverbs and all these things on my main channel here and stack it up and stack it up and stack it up. Like you can keep adding things, but it demands, it's a harder workload on your computer. So sometimes if you get a lot of these things and you got a lot of tracks going, or there's maybe not so much space on your computer, you'll get like a system overload thing that'll pop up and stop. You'll be playing and it'll stop. And it just says, oh, you have to, it needs a moment kind of thing. You click OK, but which is a pain when you're trying to listen to things in motion. So when you actually put things onto a bus, like you can send a whole bunch of these tracks, like we see all these tracks all of these tracks are going to these different reverbs, but it's just the few that I've assigned. So right here, it's like the 1, 2, and the delay, 2 reverbs and a delay that like all of these tracks I'm saying like, oh, go talk to this one, go talk to that one, go talk to that one, as opposed to putting like reverb, delay, other effects, compression, all these things, reverb. If you do that, that's like massively exponentially multiplying how hard your computer is working. And there's a fun way I kind of like to describe it of like a buffet, different, like a restaurant. This is my good old food analogies, is if you think of it as like going to 2 different types of restaurants. If you go to a place where you have like, say for example, if we're all tracks, like if we're actually tracks going into a restaurant, think of the restaurant as like the DAW in a way. But if we sit down to go have a meal at a restaurant where it's just like, it's only an a la carte thing, it's like by individual meal, it's like I can make my order and say, for example, there's only one server that has to serve us all at the table. But it's extremely inefficient when you have this kind of a situation. So say, for example, if I order reverb and you order delay or whatever, and the server comes and just basically, all right, I'm gonna go make it. So they go make my reverb, they come back, they deliver it, and then they're like, all right, I'm gonna go make your delay and come back. And it's like, it just seems like it's a lot of work and it can slow things down. Whereas if you think of like buses as like a buffet or like a busse, if you think it's just like, how they have in a buffet, there's like one spot where all the food groups are. It's similar with like effects, is you can make this little realm like I showed you in the mixer there on the side, where it's like all these buses live, and you can just say, all right, if you want your delay, you can go over to the buffet and you get it. You get it yourself, and you can kind of like allocate it there. So they're kind of like stored in one place. So if that's of help in any way. But if you think about it in the server point of view, if a server just has to come to the table to say, oh, are you having the buffet? Great. There it is. Like, it's like the workload on that person is a lot easier because they don't have to go and make the food and come back and deliver it and then go make the other one. It's just a different way of doing it. So when things get busy, say a restaurant gets busier with more tracks, like your song, then having that buffet situation is a lot more efficient to be able to work with it. So that's why they're useful. And a lot of times, like computers that maybe don't have as much RAM, John is recommending at least 16 gigs or 32 if you can. But yeah, I know some people that have lower, and because they're really, really good with busing, they make it super efficient. They can run it that way too, but it is good to have 16 or more for sure now. Anyway, just I hope that's helpful. I'm like I said, I'm not the best mixing production kind of person, but I love it. I've just gotten I was actually going to ditch it. I was really not interested in it anymore. I was kind of burning out with it a bit in January, and just got re-inspired from hanging around like Sam and John and Nick and Steve and Chris Bradley. Like really, really, really helped me learn some of these little tricks that made me be like, oh, this just makes my life so much easier and faster, and it just sounds better. So I hope those of you who are in Logic, or maybe if you're not and you're just getting used to things, I don't know if this will be of use to you as much, but the concept is there. And always go and reach out to any of those other guys, mentors wise, that are super rock star producers and mixers for more of that help and questions, because like I said, they helped me way beyond belief of what I thought was possible, and still do. So I really appreciate what they do, and the years that they've put on into this stuff, and there's so much good there. So I hope that is helpful, and that you enjoyed the analogy. There's more that I can build on that analogy, but I'll leave it there for now. And hope you guys all have a great day, and happy writing, producing, mixing, kicking ass. Bye.